Debugging is a natural part of the simulation process, and to help make it as painless as possible, Hash provides several features to help you figure out what's going wrong and what's going right in your simulation. We're going to cover two that you should keep in mind when trying to debug a simulation, specifically logging and the raw output view. First, let's take a look at the simulation. It's a pretty simple one. We have a single agent that moves in one direction and sends messages. It's sending messages to the ether, technically to receive message agent, but that agent doesn't exist yet. Everything's working as expected. However, if we were to introduce an error into this simulation, we want to figure out what's going wrong. And when you see an error message like this, you can check our docs in the error reference section and learn more about common error types. In this case, we might want to log what's happening in position. So if I add console.log state.position, and let's show what's happening in the normal case, we can then check the developer console and see the value of state.position. Now, if you haven't been working on the front end, if you're not familiar with the browser environment, the developer console might be new to you, and it's a great tool to have in your toolkit. It's very useful for a lot of different cases. And with Hash, we use it to show the logs that are being saved in a simulation run. So you can get to the developer console by going to More Tools, Developer Console, or Option Command I, Option Command J, depending upon your operating system. You can see right here, I'm going to move my beautiful self here, going to move that over. You can see the log of position. It's 1, 0, 0 because it's an array that represents X, Y, and Z. And when we move forward another time step, you'll see it's logged again. Every time Hash runs this behavior, it's logging the results, the value of state.position. You can use console.log. You could use instead console.warn or console.error for different types of logging severity. In Python, you use print. Now we see the logs are being duplicated with console.warn from the move.js and console.log from message.py. So that's a pretty common approach for debugging. Scatter console.logs around the behaviors and understand exactly what values are happening when. Another important way to understand the values within a simulation and the agents within a simulation is to view the raw output. This is always available from a tab in the viewer, and you can click View Raw Output to jump directly to it. This is going to show the state of the simulation at the end of the last time step. So in a time step, all of the behaviors on an agent are executed, and then at the conclusion of the time step, the Hash engine compiles the agents together and sets the context for the next time step. When it's bringing all of the agents together and representing it as an array of JSON objects, it creates the raw output. And you can view the state of the simulation at that time step. It's important really to understand, though, that this is happening at the end of the last time step. So if you have a bug in your simulation and you look at the raw output, it might be the values won't necessarily be the ones that were in that behavior. They might have changed because of a previous behavior being executed, and you'll want to keep that in mind when debugging. But this is a really useful tool for seeing exactly what's happening during your simulation. By combining console.logs and looking at the raw output, you'll be able to debug a simulation and get it to achieve the state that you want it to achieve.